and welcome. My name is Sophia. You can find me on both Instagram and Ravelry as Ichigo Knitter. Don't know what else I was thinking, but woohoo! Anyways, it is spring break here in Japan, and by spring break, I mean they gave us Thursday and Friday off. They're super stingy about holidays at my school, but that's okay, because in 2 weeks I'll be going to Okinawa, so I'm kind of giving myself a break. First cup of coffee of the day. Whew. So yeah, that's going to be extremely exciting. But so for my sort of spring break, if that's what Kansai Gaida calls it, okay. I'm just kind of taking it easy. I had midterms last week and early this week, which were interesting. I feel like spring semester has been significantly harder than fall semester was here academically, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's great. The classes are just like, I feel like they're more in-depth and more academically challenging, which is really super interesting, and it's, it just means midterms are lots of studying. Interesting. But it's done. It's out of the way. The weather is beautiful. I'm sure you can see the light coming through. It's actually kind of ridiculous. Let me... Ooh. How's that? No, that's much worse. Sorry. I tried. Failed attempt. But anyways, that glare, I can promise you that's really nice weather out there. And yeah, I spent yesterday wandering around a part of Osaka called Umeda. It's I stayed mostly in the train station area. I wandered outside to I just kind of found some really cool stores. I found a big arcade. Nearby, you could see, I've actually been to this building before. There's a building that has a massive arcade at the top of it. And then on top of the building is a functioning Ferris wheel. So I did a lot of adventuring around there, and it was really fun, and I really liked it. It was really relaxing. So yeah, and I've done plenty of knitting this week. I was quite excited. But let's see. First, let's talk FOs before I forget everything. Probably podcasting pre-first cup of coffee wasn't the best idea, but I mean, I don't have an excuse. It is 2 in the afternoon right now. Oops. So, FOs. I do have a couple finished objects. First, didn't exist last time at all. I decided I'm participating in the Little Lippy U year-long ornament. Alright guys, this lack of coffee was an unfortunate decision. Year-long ornament swap. So this month's theme is mini monsters. So I crocheted a ghost. He's got his little arms. This was so fun to crochet, and it was great practice for my crocheting skills that I still don't have many of, but I am loving to explore and learn about them. And this pattern I have it written down is called the Baby Ghost Ornaments for Halloween pattern by Josephine Wu. It is a completely free pattern. It barely uses up any yarn, and it's super cute, and I finished it in an afternoon. It's a quick sit down and crochet project. I used 5mm hook. I think the pattern actually calls for a smaller hook, but that's what I had, so I made it work. And I think it came out fine, and I'm really excited with him. Ooh. But that's that little guy. I also finished 2 more granny squares, and I'm going to count those as finished objects, if only to make myself feel better. Because the blanket itself isn't going to be a finished object for years. This is my homespun house bag. It's got little foxes on it. And I kept these in here to be transferred to... To be transferred to my Takaratsu bag. Alright, so... I have this square, which is knit out of one of my favorite skeins of Desert Vista dye work. I think it's called Somebody Says Boo. I made this into socks. Love it. And then this is made out of Dancing Dog Dye Works in the Zen Garden colorway, also socks. So 2. Haha. And now, right in here. So I've got 12 now. Yay! All packed in there in my Takarazuka bag. So that's about it. I just keep my yarn in here for to be crocheted, and then finished crochet goes in here. So that's it on the technical finished object spectrum. So whips. I pulled out my scrap blanket again. I had some yarn that I could add on to it. Let me see. This is all of my yarn scraps, and then here's the blanket. Stick this on the ground. Alright, so I added 2 squares. These 2 top ones here, this one and this one. Both of these were scraps given to me by my mom, which is excellent because I welcome scraps. They go perfect. And this is the full size so far. And I really love it. It's excellent. I'm so excited to have this, like the idea of having this blanket at the end of the years it takes me to compile this is really exciting. I'm like on a blanket kick right now, I think. Between this one, the granny square, the fact that I'm dreaming of a ripple blanket, and possibly a log cabin blanket sometime in the future when I get back home. I'm on a blanket binge. It's a thing. So yeah, as you can see, I have some ends to weave in, but you know, we'll get to that eventually. My other work in progress is brand new. I think I might have mentioned last time that this was something I wanted to knit. And this, in my glorious sushi bag, is the Co-Pilot by Dominique Trad. And it is epic. Alright guys, get mentally prepared for this yarn, alright? Okay. So this craziness is the most amazing color skein of yarn ever. It is Gnome Acres in the Captain America colorway. It's fingering on 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. And OMG, I love it. And this is where I'm at so far. Ooh. See if I can stretch it so you can really see the definition. Yeah. So this is a big, you know, cowl. It's all scrunched up so you can't really tell, but it'll be one that you can wrap around twice when all is said and done. And the pattern is written to use up 1 whole skein of fingering weight yarn, which is great because I didn't want to hide these fabulous colors away on my feet. So I will hide them in plain view. Ha! That made no sense. Anyways, if you can't tell, I'm super excited about it, and the texture really makes the yarn feel fantastic. Like, squishing it is excellent. I'm slightly a weirdo when it comes to yarn. But yeah, it's really fun. And I've done all this in the past week, you know, when I should have been studying. Just keep track of that. Stick that back in here. And then this is the rest of this crazy glorious ball yarn. Okay, so that is about all of the actual crafting that happened this week. So let's move on to other things. So I mentioned that I went to Umeda yesterday. I have some acquisitions on the Silly spectrum. Not any yarn acquisitions, unfortunately, but I have added to my extensive Gacha collection. As you can see behind me, all of my crazy Gachas. I'm at the opposite desk. Usually I'm recording at that one, but I felt like a change of pace. So now you can see that which is my unhealthy collection of Gachas. I have some more right here, like the collection doesn't stop. Anyways, as I said, I've added on to that. First, I have a hamster in a traditional Japanese snack, and he's sitting on, oh my goodness, where'd you go, hamster? He's sitting on a pile of red bean paste there. That's what all those purple little bumps are. And he's hilarious and precious, and I wasn't about to walk away from a machine that was giving me hamsters and Japanese sweets. And then, yesterday, I acquired this little guy, because who doesn't love cats and sweets? It's a little cat. And it's a strawberry cake, which is perfect for me, because strawberries Ichigo. And then I also acquired another cat-related thing yesterday, and this is my new best friend. This is a giant cat with, for no explainable reason, an apple on his head. This particular machine, all of the cats were all very grumpy looking and all had a food item with them. And this one is the grumpiest and most glorious of them, with an apple on his head. And I love him. So he's my new best friend. Yeah, so I have a bit of a gacha problem. The gacha machines are literally anywhere you go in Japan. You go into a grocery store, a lot of grocery stores will have the gacha machines. You go walking down the street, you can pass them on the street. If you go into any shopping mall, well, yeah, you know, train stations, shopping malls, anywhere, you will come across gacha machines. They're just the equivalent of, you know, the coin machines that we have in grocery stores in America, but they're much better things than a 25-cent sticker. The usual price for them is between, I don't know, like 200 and 300 yen is pretty average, and that's about $2 to $3 US. So they are pricey. Doesn't mean I don't continually stop buying them, because I constantly get them. I don't want to think about how much money I've invested in my obnoxious collection. Hey! So what else has been happening in Japan? The other day at the grocery store, my friend discovered, and we immediately both bought, full packages of apple pie flavored Kit Kats. And not only are they apple pie flavored, but they're the Easter Bunny Kit Kats. So if anybody watches the Knitting Den podcast, recently on her podcast, she's been eating the Easter Kit Kats that have been released in America. And they're just the generic chocolate Kit Kats, but they have this shape. So it's like Easter Bunny ears. And so this is Japan's version, which is apple pie flavored. And the most amazing thing you'll ever taste. So this is what the individual wrap, look, he's got a little tuxedo. Oops. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry guys. Apple pie aji, which is apple pie flavored. It's the back. Let's take a look inside. I have been devouring these. Can you see the little rabbit? It says Kit Kat on the one ear. And I think there's a, oh yeah. If you can see really close, there's a little chicken on its ear. But these are awesome. And they taste like apple and cinnamon in a pie. So good. I wish I could share these with you guys without them like melting as they fly internationally. They're so good. Honestly, if you're ever come to Japan, the first thing I suggest you do is go out to any store and see what flavor Kit Kats they have. Because Japan has like tons. Like my friend, she's like made it her mission to try every Kit Kat flavor here. She's had like over 40 flavors already. So if that tells you anything about the amount of Kit Kats she's had, and she hasn't reached the full amount of Kit Kats there are, they come out with some seasonally, like Easter apple pie. Some are usually sold only in specific regions of Japan. Some are available all year long anywhere you go, but There's a lot that you can only get in specific places. There's some that you can only get in the special Kit Kat stores. And there's like 3 for sure. They just opened one in Osaka, so that might... I don't know, I'd have to check again. But there's definitely at least 2 in Tokyo, one of which I've been to. And actually I lied, it wasn't Osaka. There's a new one in Kyoto. That one I haven't been to yet, but I need to go to because Kit Kats. But for any Kit Kat lover, Kit Kats are a huge thing here. And they come in every and any flavor. Probably the weirdest ones I've had are soybean flavor and purple potato flavor. I didn't like the sweet purple potato one. That was not my cup of tea. It's my friend's favorite flavor, but not my cup of tea. I think my favorite flavors are this apple pie one and the citrus one. It's incredible. It sounds crazy, but it's incredible. Another crazy one we had recently, I was in 7-Eleven, which, by the way, in Japan is the greatest place ever. And I happened upon baked cheesecake flavored Kit Kats. And when I say baked cheesecake, I mean that literally. These Kit Kats, they're cheesecake flavored, and it comes with instructions on how to put them and cook them in the toaster oven so that they're baked. So, literally, they were Kit Kats made especially to be baked like a cheesecake. They weren't actually bad. They were kind of funny. They were super hot because we ate them right out of the toaster oven. But it was something. So, there's never a dull moment in Japan when you're on the lookout for Kit Kat flavors. It's an adventure. Alright, so moving on from my obsession with Japanese Kit Kats, I had a question from Jeannie. I apologize if I can't pronounce that right, who's Jean from Pennsylvania. She sent me a question about some street foods, some Japanese street foods that she came upon on Pinterest. And one of the ones she asked me about was yakisoba. And now I have a friend who makes yakisoba a ton. So I'm still trying to link up with her and see if I can videotape her making yakisoba so you guys can see what it actually looks like to be made. But since I talk about yakisoba, I'll start with yakisoba. So yakisoba is an extremely popular dish here. To be honest, it's actually one of the very few dishes I don't enjoy. And the only reason is the soba noodles themselves. Soba noodles are made of buckwheat, and I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I don't enjoy them. But yakisoba itself is fried soba noodles with any variety of vegetables and meat you want. And now, fun Japanese word of the day, yaki. This is going to come up in some of these other items. Yaki is fried or grilled. So if you see the word yaki something, you can be sure that that is a fried item. Okonomiyaki, for example, means anything you like fried. Yaki udon, like yakisoba, is udon noodles fried. Let's see. There's another one here. She asked about roasted mochi, which is yakimochi, fried. So if you're ever at a Japanese restaurant and you see yaki something, it's going to be fried and delicious. Except I don't like yakisoba. Most people do. I don't. It's weird. So yakimochi, the roasted mochi, is... well, first I should explain what mochi itself is. Mochi is a very traditional food here in Japan. Usually it's a snack, and it is rice that has been pounded with a hammer. And if you look up, I'm sure you can find on YouTube plenty of videos of people pounding mochi. So basically they have this big barrel, and they'll have all the rice in there, and what they'll do is one person will be holding a giant hammer and be slamming down on the rice, and while they're doing that, as they pick up and set up to hit again, the other person will be turning around the pounded rice to keep all of it being hit, and it might be adding air. I'm not an expert in any way, shape, or form on mochi. And it's really cool to watch happen. So yakimochi, which roasted mochi, is literally mochi that's just been thrown on a grill and is fried. And then she also asked about mitarashi dango. And dango is mochi. And so it's a sweet rice dumpling. It's mochi. And specifically mitarashi dango is the mochi has been rounded into small balls. They are then skewered on a stick, usually about 3 dango really, on a stick. And it will be covered in a sweet soy sauce mixture. It's gooey. It's an odd... Again, I actually don't like dango. And I think it's probably the consistency of it that I don't like. But a lot of people really do love it. And the sauce, it sounds kind of crazy that it's soy sauce, but it's a sweet soy sauce, and it's more gelatinous than it is liquid and runny. And you can get that anywhere, easily at Japanese festivals. They have them at some convenience stores, so they're everywhere. And the last thing she asked about is something that I do love, and this is karaage. And karaage is really anything deep fried in oil, but mostly when you go to a place and they have karaage on the menu, they're usually talking about deep fried chicken. And it's different than like deep fried chicken in the US. It's a specific kind. It's absolutely delicious. You can get a karaage don, which is a rice bowl topped with karaage. They have it at my school's cafeteria. It's super good. But yeah, so thank you for asking. If anybody ever has any questions about Japan or anything at all, please feel free to message me on the board, or you can PM me, anything. But thank you so much for your questions. So what else do I have to talk about today? I wanted to say thank you to Fluffy Fibers for mentioning me on her podcast. If you don't watch Fluffy Fibers, please do right now. She is absolutely wonderful. She lives in France. She knits the most wonderful things. And oh my goodness, guys, if you're looking for sewing inspiration, watch Fluffy Fibers. She sews the most beautiful dresses. And I was watching her the other day, and it just made me want to learn to sew right now. And, I can't because my grandmother's sewing machine is, in America. So I have to wait. But I was looking up how to learn tutorials online after watching her episode because she's sewing a dress right now that has darts in the front and back. And just hearing her talk about it, I was like, gosh darn it, I want to know. So that I was really excited about that. So if you are a sewer and a knitter, check her out. She's wonderful. And she and my mom are both knitting a Hitofude right now, and they're kind of egging each other on. It's really fun. So thank you so much. And please check her out. She's awesome. Let's see. Oh, I guess I can talk a little bit. I feel like I'm all over the place this week, guys. I'm really sorry. Midterms fried me. So, not to be completely all over the place, as I have been this entire time, I went to the movies the other night to see, the most awesome movie ever. Now, I'm really nerdy, and I watch a ton of anime. It's a thing. It's great for Japanese, but I also just love anime. And there's a currently running anime called Ansatsu Kyoshitsu, which means assassination classroom. And it's great. Anybody that watches that might like anime, I highly recommend it. It's really funny. And they made a live action movie for it. And the live action movie came out last week. It came out last Saturday. And I have been waiting forever for this movie to come out. I was so excited that they were doing a live action movie. So on Saturday, I went, and it was amazing, and I absolutely loved it. Like, I just like walked out of that movie, and I was like, this was amazing. It was also just super exciting because, you know, it was a Japanese movie, no subtitles, no nothing. It's just Japanese, and I totally understood it, and I loved it, and it was great. Probably helps that I watched the anime, so I know the plot anyways, but it was really exciting, and I loved it so much. So the premise of this movie, I have a gacha to give you a visual. So this is the main character. He doesn't look this tiny and derpy. He looks derpy, but he's normal sized. And he is a octopus monster / teacher. The premise of the show and the manga and the movie is that this guy blows up the moon. He blows up half the moon, and, you know, all the governments of the world are like, that's not cool, dude. And he shows up, and he makes a deal with the Japanese government, and he says, hey, so I'm going to destroy the Earth in March, which is the month that students graduate in Japan. And he was like, yeah, so I'm going to blow up the Earth in March, but I'll make a deal with you. You can try and assassinate me as much as you like if you let me teach this class. Anyway, so they let him do that, and this class is 3E, and they're called the End class. They go to this prep school, but they're all the kids that have basically failed out of classes, and their grades are so bad that they've been kicked out of their normal classes and sent to a satellite campus in the woods in basically a shack. And they're kind of the losers of the school. And so the Japanese government is like, hey guys, so here's this octopus monster. He's gonna blow up the world in March, so have fun trying to assassinate him. He's also your teacher. It's great. It's just excellent. It sounds crazy and silly, and it is, but it's fantastic. And the students end up naming the teacher Koro-sensei, which is a play on the word koro-senai, which is cannot be killed in Japanese. So they combine koro-senai and koro-sensei, and sensei to make koro-sensei. And so that's just the nerdy Japanese major coming out, but that made me really excited that they did that play on words. And they explicitly, like, I was watching, they also did an English dub of the anime, and they even, you know, because that's how his name comes about, so even though they're speaking English, the girl that comes up with his name is like, what's cannot be killed in Japanese? Oh, like, I have that word in my back pocket. It's koro-senai, koro-sensei. But, yeah, I still love it. But I preferred, I watch it in Japanese, but I was casually watching the first episode in English, and I was like, oh, that's how they got around it, because it would have been hard to change his name. But while I was at the movies, I picked up a really cool thing at Japanese movie theaters is they have tons of free posters for upcoming movies. And so I picked up some. Start with the nerdiest first. This is a Pokemon. Anyone who has kids that like Pokemon, or 21-year-old daughters that like Pokemon. Got that. And here's this, which says Bakemono no Ko, which is Monster Child. This is a new upcoming movie by the same director that did Summer Wars and Wolf Children, Yuki and Ame, which are two extremely well-made, highly acclaimed animated films. So if you're interested in checking out what Japanese anime films are like, but not looking for anime, but just a Japanese animation film, I would suggest this man's work. Summer Wars and Wolf Children, Ame and Yuki are both phenomenal. Summer Wars is just a really great, kind of crazy, kind of awesome family comes together and kind of literally saves the world, but it's just really cute. And then Wolf Children, Ame and Yuki is really sweet, Kind of bittersweet. It's about a mom who has to raise her 2 wolf children because her husband was a werewolf. Oops. But the premise, it's not silly at all. Like the fact that he's a werewolf, or like it's not like campy or like an American premise of werewolves or anything. It's just a really sweet story about this single mom trying to handle these 2 little kids. But it's really great if you're looking for something, just a nice, fuzzy, sweet, bittersweet stories, Summer Wars, and Wolf Children Ame-nuki. And this is the newest film, which is coming out soon. And then, finally, I cannot express to you guys how frustrated I was when I found out that the new Hunger Games movie was not coming out here till this summer. So everyone back home has seen it, but I haven't. Have a poster for it, though. And what's interesting about this is I'm not sure, you know, they do change the titles of some movies when they're brought over to Japan. So this one literally says Hunger Games, Resistance. Sorry. Hunger Games Resistance. And it says final, which I'm not really sure why it says final because it's part 1. But it doesn't mention anywhere that it is part 1. Let me see. No, it doesn't. It just calls it Hunger Games Final Resistance. That's interesting. I didn't notice that. I guess I don't know. Anyways, and right here it says the fate of the world is oh man, what's that word? Is in the hands of a single girl. So the fate of the world is relied upon by a single girl. And yeah, so there's that. It's got a cool inside cover. It's just all about recapping who the characters are, what their relationships, and what on earth is going on. But that doesn't come out here till June? Yeah, June. So I won't be in Japan for it either. Hope it's out on DVD. I'm never gonna see this movie, guys. Really. No. World's against me. How much time have I been rambling to you guys for? I'm messing with the screen. It doesn't want to tell me. Sorry. So I have no idea how long I've been rambling. But I think I'll finish it off for you guys by talking a little bit about the knit-along. So the knit-along is still going on. It goes on until the end of April, so you've still got tons of time left. The only requirement is that you knit or crochet or craft, any kind of crafting, something in a shade of pink or red. And just one entry per, one post per entry, but you can enter as many times as you like. And so just a recap of the prizes, there will be a Aroha Knits, who is an amazing, wonderful designer. She lives here in Japan. She is donating 1 copy of her cherry blossom shawl pattern and 1 copy of her Caprius shawl pattern. If you haven't seen her patterns, please go check out her page. It's Aroha Knits. She does beautiful work. Her shawls are absolutely incredible. And then my mom, Saratoga Knitting, is hand spinning a skein of yarn. I am putting together a package. I actually show you that again. I got 2 new things for that as well. So in that package will be a tote from the Kyoto National Museum with writing all in Japanese, or sorry, in English for you. And it's just a really nice fabric tote bag. A pretty postcard with flowers. A wooden flower bookmark that says Kyoto National Museum on the back in kanji. And then, open this up. some fun Sakura stickers with Mount Fuji, and a little Mount Fuji sticky note pad with a Sakura. So that will be coming from me for someone. And finally, Seashore Sharon was super amazing, and she donated a cherry blossom fabric tote bag. So someone will be winning that as well. So thank you so much, Seashore Sharon. Sorry. Really appreciate it. That was super nice of you. Thank you so much. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 prizes in the running. So there will be 5 winners, and you have till the end of April. Okay. Alright, so I think I've been babbling on very randomly long enough. Hope you guys don't mind my insanity, as per usual. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope wherever you are in the world that the weather starts to improve or is nice and sunny. And happy knitting. Bye.